Good morning. We're here today to interview Dorothy Brown.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
It's been nice to meet you this week.
Thanks.
My name, the interviewer, is Stanton O'Neill. I'm a volunteer here at West Volusia Historical Society. Today is October 14th, 2015, and we are interviewing in the Brown room.
Perfect.
At DeLand House.
Feel very
DeLand House. So Dot, you've got quite a story. Why don't you start off, just tell us about some of your early life, where you were born, your family life, and up in Georgia where you were.
Well, I was born in South Georgia, Ashburn, Georgia. And used to be 41, now it's Interstate 75, which changed the whole picture of my town. It's like a little ghost town now. Everything moves to the exit of all the interstate. But it was a small town, a lovely small town. Loved growing up there because you know everybody in town, 3,000 people. So you know everybody there. Graduated from high school. Still go back to see, have a few friends left. Still like to go back and get peanuts and barbecue and pecans. So that's a stop always.
When did you graduate?
1945.
So can you describe a little bit about those war years in high school? What kind of things were happening?
Well, we thought we were very patriotic. We folded bandages for the Red Cross. We gathered scrap, scoured all the woods to find scrap. We watched airplanes. We grew Victory Garden. We had a Victory Garden. So we thought we were helping, and we didn't have very many shortages because being on a farm, you don't do without butter or, well, we short of maybe sugar, but you always had your syrup, cane syrup. And gas, we were very careful. No buses. We had to use our gas rations for basketball. I was on the basketball team. Oh. And at night we would, instead of driving with, our pastime was to drive without our lights on, so they wouldn't know we were driving around town. And our pastime would go out to the fields and watermelon and it was just a small town activity.
So you borrowed some watermelons?
Well, we would go out there, but we knew the people that owned them or we'd be shot, That's all anyway.
So how did y'all keep up with events, with what was going on?
The radio.
Where did you listen? Where did you hear that?
With the radio?
Yeah.
Well, I always remember the radio listening to, we would always go to the auditorium and hear the president speak. We'd all march to the auditorium when Roosevelt, we all loved Roosevelt, of course. We would do anything for Roosevelt. He won the war for us, we felt,
So after high school, tell us.
Well, I graduated in 49 and went to Brenau. I didn't know where I wanted to go. First, I thought I'd go to the University of Georgia. And then I thought, no, I'd rather go to a smaller school, because coming from a small town. So this friend of mine in Ashburn said, where are you going to college? And I said, well, I don't think I'm going to the University of Georgia. And she said, why don't you go to Brenau, which was a small girls' school in Gainesville, Georgia, North Georgia. I didn't want to go out of Georgia. And so I applied and was accepted, and found out that she had gone there and had been expelled after 3 weeks. She was a very spoiled young lady and a good friend of mine, but older, much older. But anyway, I stayed at Brenau. I love Brenau. So
how'd you like all-girls school?
I enjoyed it because the University of Georgia was 50 miles away.
You mean that's where the boys were?
Yes, where and Georgia Tech was 50 miles away, so we were right in the middle. And we had dances once a month, and of course, I belonged to a sorority, and they would come to the sorority houses. Oh no, it was nice to be in a girls' school, I don't know how you manage being girls and boys colleges. I mean, with the floors, girl floor, dormitories. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just nice to be able to walk down the hall, you know, in your bathing suit. So, no, I enjoyed the girls' school. I do go by once in a while now to look. But it's become a university now. It was a college, now it's a university.
So after school, after college?
Oh, that's another funny story. One of my friends was from Virginia, and she came down. She said she was coming down to see me graduate. She was an only child, and she actually came down to elope because they did not approve of the boy that she was going with. And she eloped. She saw me on the street. She says, "I'll meet you at the church at 1 o'clock. I'm getting married on the street." And so I went up for her. They did have a reception, but the dad got drunk, and the mother went to the hospital when they found out about it. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, she had a reception, and I went up for the reception. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I don't know." She said, "Won't you teach school?" And before I knew it, I was down in the superintendent's office signing a contract to teach school. So I stayed up there a year and taught school.
Okay.
And then came back to Georgia after that and taught school a year in Rebecca, Georgia. But all these have been, regional. It's all one school now in my county. We used to have 3 schools, but now there's just one, Turner County High School. So
you taught for a year here, a year there, then
my mother said, if you teach school 1 more year, you cannot live with me. Because I was so tired when I'd come home at night, I couldn't talk. So she said, you can't. So I went back to Brenau to visit, and the president, Dr. Kruger, Josiah Kruger, I had known him, his family, for 4 years. He came my freshman year. So I felt like he and I graduated from Brenau together. So his family was a good friend. He said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I don't know if I want to teach school anymore or not." He said, "Well, why don't you work for Brenau?" So I did. I worked student enlistment for 2 years. That's when girls' schools had a rough time. The enrollment was down in girls' schools. So I went to all the college days in South Carolina, all the South, North Carolina, Florida.
every college town.
Yeah, and we all traveled together, all the colleges. Well, Harvard, all the schools in North Carolina, South Carolina. You've got Wofford, and you've got Wake Forest, or you name them all.
So you got to know all these.
All the representatives.
All these representatives.
We traveled together. We went to all the high school. Well, high school, college day. They'd have all the representatives would go. They still do that, I'm sure. We'd go to the auditorium, and all the colleges would be there, and the students could have 3 choices. They could go to the college of their choice and visit. So we had a good time together. And
So you traveled all over the South.
I was in Florida, and then I was invited to come to Stetson by the representative.
Right.
We were all invited to come to Stetson when they had football. So we all came, and I stayed at the Hotel Putnam. And Bob was there. He managed the Putnam with his father, his mother and dad. And he was managing. So I met him across the desk. But we just said hello and goodbye. I just knew him because I was at Stetson. And then I went back. I had to go to Miami and Orlando for students. And I was in Orlando, and he came. I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I knew who he was. And he said, "Well, I remember your last name, but I can't remember your first name." So he said, what are you doing? I said, "Oh, I'm not doing anything." So he said, "We'll go to the basketball. Would you like to go to the basketball game?" Stetson was playing Rollins.
And they played in the Armory?
No, that was in Winter Park.
Oh, okay.
That was in Orlando, Winter
Okay.
Park. So I went to the game.
Okay.
Then he said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm on my way back for Christmas for Brenau. Going home, report to Brenau and go home for Christmas." he said, well, won't you stop by here? So I stopped by the hotel, and then from then on, we married 6 months later, and that's something. It was
That's
just
a
kind of
romantic
but he
story.
was older, and I was older too, so that was. And he gave me these pearls on the beach at Daytona Beach. I hope they keep on driving on the beach and on the beaches, because I got pearls. Engagement on the beach.
So what was Bob, I think Bob's already done he did a video already.
Yes.
But just a brief thing, what was his background in World War II and all?
He was #1 tennis player for the high school. He was the #1 tennis player for Stetson. And he was beaten by Jack Kramer from Rollins. You know, of course, that was not to be sneezed at. He was the #1 tennis player in the country, wasn't he, Jack?
Wow. Yeah.
But then he went to Stetson, and of course, then the war, 1941. I don't know when he went in, 42. No, 44. He didn't go into 44. Mm-hmm. But he left Stetson. He wanted to be in the Navy. And he went to Jacksonville to enlist with his dad. His dad was in the Navy. And he was underweight. He was very tall and skinny. Ate 12 bananas on the way up so he could weigh enough to get in the Navy. Still was underweight, but he got in the Navy. And then they gave him a choice of going to Yankee State, go to New York or Chicago. Of course, he wanted to go to New York, but of course, he got Chicago. In 90 days, 90-day wonder. In 90 days, he completed the training and was on the LST 530 going to the Normandy invasion. He was in the Normandy invasion.
Wow, that was his first war experience?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
That's
530, LST.
What was the LST?
That's those, they take the soldiers over
Oh, okay.
and drop them off on the beaches.
You said it was a very slow-moving ship.
They call them LST, slow-moving target. But anyway, drop them off at the beaches. It's something to watch. But their commanding officer was Tony Duke, Anthony Drexel Duke, the Duke, University of Dukes. And they know he was only 27 years old. Wonderful man. Just died about 2 years ago. But he was their commanding officer. And they knew they survived because of Tony Duke. Because, you know, the Normandy invasion, have you ever seen the movie? The Longest Day?
Yeah.
You must see it. It's exactly like that.
Did he think that?
Oh, yes. He said he could see the sky. No planes in the sky. There's not. You couldn't see any. Couldn't see sky because of planes. But see that. But we went back for the 50th anniversary. Normandy invasion. We went back.
Oh yeah.
Bob and I. And those men I never knew the experiences, the war experiences, but they talked on the bus. All of them talked, and we listened. Because they never talked. Because they never felt they were the heroes. You know, the men that died were the heroes. So, but anyway, it was a wonderful experience.
Well, you know, today they call him the greatest general.
That's right. That's right.
You should be proud of that.
Yeah, that's right. What's his name? Bob?
Dole?
No.
Oh,
The one
Bob.
that wrote the book. Greatest. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
It's the
Well, so after you married, y'all lived in here in DeLand.
Well, then after we met, then we lived, they had the Hotel Putnam. He managed the Hotel Putnam with his dad. And his mother was very active in the hotel and the guests, and had wonderful help, wonderful employees. The elevator, people that stayed there for forever, years. The bartender in the Cypress Room, and it was only a winter hotel. Then, before Disney, they only were open for the winter. I mean, they were open, maybe the first floor or the second floor was open for guests, but in the winter it was a full resort.
So what months would you say?
So December to April.
December to April.
And if you look at the hotel, if you go by the hotel, it's a mess now, but I hope they'll do something with it. But if you looked at the hotel then, and you go drive around, in the back there's an annex, they called it. And they would bring down the waitress the maitre d', the chef, the maitre d', and the waitresses would come down for the winter and run the dining room. And then when the winter season is over, they would move the manager, the chef would take his waitresses and go to another hotel for the summer. So, but they lived in the back of the hotel.
Was that mainly because of air conditioning, or just less people came during the hot summer? Or?
Well, they just didn't have that many people then, that many guests.
Yeah.
You know, they just had winter residents, just winter. To Disney came, and then it opened up everything.
Right.
But they realized they had to do a lot to the hotel. We made 53, and they sold it in 59. But Bob's dad realized they had to do a lot to the hotel.
Right.
Swimming pool, you know, and they made suites, but it still wasn't enough, and they sold it. He was killed in an automobile accident, Bob's dad, on New York Avenue, and Bob realized he didn't want to, it was just too much of a, and his mother didn't want to do it.
And that was in 59.
59. They
So
sold it.
when they were managing the Putnam, was the College Arms still open?
No, well, it was, but when we made in 53, I never saw the College Arms.
Right.
It was torn down, I guess, in 52.
So, you know, it was...
But they still had the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's gone. That was where the cloister is,
Right.
the golf course. But it's, and then we couldn't find any work because there was no jobs available much in DeLand. So we went to New Jersey. Bob's brother-in-law had started a tire business in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So Bob, being a business major, could take care of the business. So we
So
went
in
there
59, you went to New Jersey.
for 25 years.
Y'all had how many children?
5 girls, 3 in Florida, and 2 in, and it's funny, when we were in New Jersey, our doctor said when the 4th one was born, he said, "You didn't think you could come to New Jersey and have a boy, did you?" So we had 5 girls.
So did y'all come back and visit DeLand
Often.
during those years?
Oh, yes, his mother still lived in the big house by the hotel. Mm-hmm. We'd come back, and she didn't sell the house. So we'd come back and visit her. Oh, yes, often. February, you know, New Jersey, weather in the north, you do have cabin fever. Mm-hmm. Come January and February. So I'd get cabin fever in February. So we always came to Florida.
What was it like to go from New Jersey to DeLand, back to New Jersey? Did you have any feeling about the differences?
Well, I loved coming south, but I did love New Jersey. You know, who in the world goes from Florida to New Jersey? I didn't want to go. I said, "Bob, you can commute. I'll stay in Florida and you can work in New Jersey." But anyway, I love New Jersey. I love New York City. Love the plays. It took me 25 years to learn to read the New York Times, but I love the New York Times now. Mm-hmm. You know, so I still like to go to the city. I still like to go visit.
Do any of your daughters still live around here?
3 in Massachusetts,
Okay.
1 in Virginia, and 1 here.
Right.
My baby daughter lives here. And she went to Stetson. She graduated from Stetson. She said one of her dad's children had to go to Stetson, so she went to Stetson.
Right.
Graduated.
Going back to the Putnam Hotel, what was the dining room like?
Lovely, white. Have you ever been to Antoine's in New Orleans? Just all white tablecloths and silver and glass, china. Very, a maitre d'.
What was the menu like?
It was American plan, which is soup to nuts. You know, you have everything's, you choose. Mm-hmm. You choose your entree, you choose your appetizer, you choose your entree, you choose your dessert, and it's all one price, American plan. Mm-hmm. Not a la carte. Beautiful menus. I should have brought one. It's beautiful.
Did that menu pretty much stay the same, or
no, different? It changed. Oh. Changed every day.
That's kind of exciting.
And Bob's dad printed it every day. He had his own printer, and he printed it on the menu every day. Should have brought one to show you. It's wonderful menus.
And they
wonderful food.
Lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
Mm-hmm. 3 meals a day. And then in the summertime, they closed the dining room, and because the Cypress Room was open, they had a bar, a nice small bar, and so they had meals there, short order. a la carte. But it was a lovely hotel, but it's not the same now. It's all chopped up. The lobby's chopped up. Used to be one spacious lobby, one parlor, one dining room, old-fashioned elevator. You know, just a lovely hotel.
What were the rooms like?
Well, plain like this, you know, furniture, like, I don't know, old-timey dressers, you know, with a mirror in the middle, and we probably have one upstairs.
Right.
You know, iron beds, you know, but you know, lovely, comfortable, very clean.
In the American room, the big room, did they have lots of big events, parties?
Yes, there had a lot of weddings and a lot of bridge parties in. Oh yes, you could name people in DeLand that had their weddings there, their wedding receptions. Beautiful, oh, wonderful food, the best food. So, service. And Bob's mother was just an old timer. Was one of the, Mrs. Lane, you name all the people in DeLand, she was one of those older ladies. Mrs. Lane, oh my word. Oh, this Powell, probably the Powells, Fountains, Dreekers, on and on, all these old families in town. Acres.
So you told me that the Red Sox stayed at the farm team. Tell us about that.
Well, when I married Bob, I married the Red Sox. He loved the Red Sox. He loved Ted Williams. And of course I didn't know that much. I mean, I knew baseball. I played softball and played basketball. But I wasn't that familiar with baseball. But the Red Sox farm team stayed at the hotel. If you look at the hotel, you've got the dining room to the left, the parlor to the right, and the lobby, and you go up to the towers. There are two towers. And the baseball team stayed in between the rooms between the two towers. They loved it. It was like a dormitory. They all stayed together. They loved it up there. And they stayed here for 10 years. They trained here for 10 years. But it was called the Louisville Colonels. That was the farm team for the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
And all the big name players most of them came from the Louisville Colonels because it was a step down from the major league. I'm watching the Cubs win right now. They haven't won since 1908. The Red Sox did not win till 1900 and, wait just a minute. No, 2003, 04.
Yeah.
And first time in 85 years. So it was wonderful. So we have season tickets to the Red Sox game in Boston.
Oh,
When
wow.
Bob retired, we, in 84, from New Jersey, we came back here to live in 84. And so I said, Bob, you love the Red Sox, so let's go to Boston, because we had 3 daughters up there. Let's get season tickets. So we have season tickets to the Red Sox. And we saw them win. And 4 and 7.
Well, that was a thrill.
It was wonderful.
So when you left New Jersey, where'd you go?
Right to Florida. Came right back to Florida, his home, because he was born here.
Right.
But we went to New Smyrna because we had been away from, we loved the beach, and we thought, well, we'd go, we loved New Smyrna beach. So we thought we'd go retire to the beach, be beach bums and we stayed there for 3 years. But Bob was always going back and forth to Stetson to see the basketball games, the baseball games, or the Gator games. He was a Gator fan, had tickets to the Gators. So I said, this is crazy. That was a terrible road. You know, remember that road before they built it?
44.
44, it was awful.
2-lane, right?
2-lane.
Yeah.
So I said, let's go back to DeLand. So we moved back here.
Was that a good move?
Yes. Oh, yes, we love being home. I went right back into the activities I did when we first married, the Junior Welfare League. And he became the JCs. He was too old for the JCs. He was very active in the JCs, Junior Chamber of Commerce. but he belonged to the quarterback club. And no, he was home.
Now, his brother was Earl Brown, right?
His uncle.
Uncle. Okay.
Bob's dad was Rob. There were two boys that bought the hotel.
Right.
They came from Milford, Pennsylvania in 1906.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a hotel in Milford, Pennsylvania. And they had the two sons, Robert and Earl. Mm-hmm. And Earl Brown Park was Bob's uncle. Mm-hmm. And Bob's dad was Robert.
Right.
And they bought the hotel in 1906. It burned in 21, and they rebuilt it in 23.
Fireproof.
So they say. So they say. I hope so. I hope it stays.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
So I hope so. But lovely hotel.
And y'all, when you were there, you lived in the house behind,
The little cottage.
which is also right next to the Athens Theater, right?
Right behind.
You told me something about the Athens.
Oh yes, we love going to all the. We call them picture shows. Movies, picture shows. We went to all them movies. In fact, we had a bridge group. We always played bridge, about 4 couples, every Sunday night in our little cottage behind the Athens. It's still there, too. Now, the big house has been torn down. And so they would they'd pay us to go a movie so the boys could play bridge, get rid of us. So we'd go to the picture show. We'd go to the movie.
So how much was it to get in?
Well, we said something like 12 cents. Well, because they advertised in the lobby of the hotel.
Right.
So we could get a cheap.
And you said you could hear the movies from your house.
And we saw it because it opened the back doors in the summertime. And from our house was right there at the back of the picture. Still is. Good to hear the movie. It was wonderful. Yeah, so that's...
I'm jumping around a little bit. You mentioned sports at Stetson, the basketball games and football. Stetson had football when you were here in the 50s,
Oh, yes.
right? What was that like? Did
Well,
it seem
we
like a
went-
small town thing, or was it
Well,
pretty-
it wasn't not
pretty
like
action?
it is now. It's tailgating now. Everybody tailgates.
Right.
It's wonderful to see the game, go down and see. I don't go to the games now. I go to the used to go to all the basketball games. I never missed a basketball game. But, and we would go to the football games, but Bob was more, I don't remember so much about football. I always went to all the basketball games. Mm-hmm. And they said we married in 53, and I think they stopped playing football in 58.
Right.
And so I don't remember
So what was homecoming like?
all the people came with their families. It was homecoming. Now, that's still a big thing. Mm-hmm. But football brought families and
Right.
children, and they all stayed at the hotel. It was, it was wonderful. And we were very busy at the hotel in November
Oh, yeah.
with homecoming.
You said they had bonfires?
Oh, yeah.
Where were they?
I don't know. I went to one, but I don't remember where it was. Probably
Kinda
Stetson
out.
has changed so much now. It was, they closed Michigan. They closed that street. Is this the one that goes straight up to Stetson?
No.
But there's one street they closed. I think it was Michigan, wasn't it?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, they closed.
Wow.
So it was on the campus. I'm probably up there behind Elizabeth Hall.
Uh-huh.
Probably, but I don't remember. I just went with Bob. He took me to see the bonfire.
Well,
But DeLand has changed a lot. Bob always said that little mouse in 1970, we were still in New Jersey, but the whole picture of DeLand has changed. It's beautiful to watch. I ride around town to see DeLand come alive on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. Everybody has moved to the sidewalk. It's lovely. You feel like you're in Europe. Everybody's on the sidewalk in the Artisan Alley. It's lovely to see. So get in your car and ride around on Friday night and see all the activities. It's wonderful to see Elaine. But Bob said that little mouse did it.
So he had
Disney.
a positive feeling about Disney coming in?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And his mother loved Disney. This wonderful lady my age now. Yes, she'll take us down to Disney World. We stayed with all the hotels, the Contemporary, the Polynesian. Oh, yes, she loved it like a little girl. And she even took a train with my grandchildren. This lady, wonderful, Bob's mother. And a train to California, to Disney out there. 3 little girls. And that's in my age with 3 little girls on the train. Amazing woman. So.
Well, is there anything else you think you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
Well, it seems like we've covered right much.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just enjoying being here and watching you all the progress.
You're very active too here.
Oh, yes, I still have my garden club, same one, and I'm still go to the Junior Welfare League meetings sometime. Bob's mother started, one of the ladies that started the Junior Welfare League in I have the history of the league, but she and Mrs. Lane and all these ladies started the Junior Welfare League years ago. And I go to church guild meetings, and so I have some of my friends left, quite a few of them.
Well, we're here in the Henry DeLand house, and your family has some connections with this house. For example, this room is known as the Brown Powell room.
Because of Bill Draggers.
Right.
He's wonderful. Don't you miss him?
I do.
Now, I don't know, he came, when we first moved back, he knew we brought a lot of stuff with us. And he came over to the warehouse and found the Bible and found the desk. And
well, let's talk about those. This Bible over here on the table,
yes,
is in this room right here, is actually your family Bible.
No, but that's the Brown family.
Right,
Yes.
and it has Putnam Hotel written in there also. So
Yes, that would be the Browns. See, all the boys, they came from New Jersey. Came from Pennsylvania. The mother and father came and bought the hotel in 1906. And so I guess the Bible came with Papa's dad.
And also the desk in the foyer out here was in the Putnam Hotel.
Yes.
And then later was in your den or
We
your house?
took it to New Jersey for 25 years.
Right. So
It was in our den. My children love this desk.
Yeah.
Because it opens both sides.
Wow.
You go here and it opens both sides. And it sat in our den for 25 years. And we had a lot of other things from the hotel. But Uncle Earl Brown, was called Mr. Florida, his uncle, Bob's uncle. And his son is Earl Carver, Boulevard Tower.
Oh.
That is his grandson. And he's named Earl after Earl Brown. But
So Bill Draggers came in and
picked up
wanted
a
that
few
desk.
things, and he picked up something for Pioneer Settlement too. I don't know.
okay.
Oh yes, and one of the Johnson boys. What's Johnson? Not Don Johnson. He came with him. He's a historian in town. But anyway, that's where it came. But Bill always said we could have this back if we ever wanted it, but we never do want it back. The desk.
Well, it gets good use here.
It does. It's wonderful. It found a home.
Well, Dot, let me ask you a couple of concluding questions here. You've had a lot of experience over the years in Florida and New Jersey, and also, do you have any advice to give to young people today? Anything that you've learned along the road?
Well, I just think maybe machines have taken the place of people. And that's my only, when I walk in my grandchildren's house, they're all texting, And I want to say, put up the machines, just talk, really just put it aside because I want to visit with you. So I just want to slow down a little bit. And I just enjoy people, I just don't like machines. And one of my daughters, is very good in math. And I said, oh, you should go into computers. This was years ago. She would have made a fortune because that was the beginning from computers in the 1970s. She said, Mom, I do not want machines. I want people. So she became a teacher. And all my girls are teachers, all 5 of them.
Wow.
All love to teach. They like to be with people. So that's why I am.
They inherited that from you.
Yes, they love it. And their dad, too. Oh, Bob thought everybody loved him. He was wonderful. So this is mine. Just slow down and enjoy. Just enjoy and say.
So, Dot, how would you like to be remembered?
Oh, dear. My mother used to say, that my middle name was Go. She always said my middle name was Go because I always enjoyed people and I liked to go. I just always liked my friends and always visited my friends. Always wanted a big family, and that was that I was loving and kind, and I still like exciting things. I like to travel, so I just like to be my middle name Go, because I go see my children, and
you're still going.
I'm still going.
It's been really a joy to meet you, and I appreciate
you
you coming in today to talk.
Well, thank you very much. You're a very wonderful interviewer.
Thank
you. You bring things out that I hadn't thought about in a long, long time. Thank you very much.